Good evening to everyone. Initially, we'd like to thank the scientific committee for this proposal and for this nomination. Today's presentation will focus on the therapeutic application of mesenchymal stromal cells in COVID-19, and I will present our results that were coming out from our laboratory work during the last years of the pandemic. Well, to begin with, SARS-CoV-2 was initially reported in December 2019, and it was started from the food market in Wuhan of China. Then it was renamed as severe active respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 due to the pathogenic mechanism due to the disease that is responsible for. It is characterized by global transmission with a high number of new incidents. Can affect both genders. The mortality rate is below 5%, but the severity of the disease is age-related and also can affect different and more severe patients that are characterized by underlying disorders. And since its first discovery, nowadays we have discovered many different variants of SARS-CoV-2 with differences in disease severity as those that you can observe here. So SARS-CoV-2 actually utilizes a specific pathogenic mechanism that actually can create a specific pathological defects. Initially, it can escape from the PPR recognition, and this can cause actually a dysregulation in macrophage function and can lead also to overactivation of the CD40 cells, CD8 cells, and natural killer cells. And these overactivated cells can actually produce high amount of pro-inflammatory cytokines, such as those that you can observe in these here. And this is actually known as cytokine release syndrome, this phenomenon, or cytokine storm. Also, critically ill patients with SARS-CoV-2 are characterized by reduction in FOXP3 cells and also with peripheral lymphopenia. Then the virus can infiltrate the lungs and can cause further damage to alveolar epithelial cells. And this actually is the start of the active respiratory distress syndrome, which, if it is not administered well, this may cause life-threatening events to the patients, such as the entrance of the ICU and all of the events that we have observed all these years. So today we have several therapeutic options in order to proper combat COVID-19, such as the use of specifically viral vectors, such as remdesivir, lopinavir. We have supportive factors, we have immune-modifying factors, we have antibodies derived from convalescent plasma, monoclonal antibodies against interleukin-6, of course the vaccination and the use of the mRNA vaccines or vaccines that utilize viral particles. And lately, also much focus from the scientific community has been shown to the evaluation of the advanced cellular therapies, such as the use of mesenchymal stromal cells or CAR T cells in order to better combat the COVID-19. So the topic of this presentation is actually the therapeutic potential that mesenchymal stromal cells have, and mesenchymal stromal cells are belonging to these advanced cellular therapies. So what are these cells? Are heterogeneous population of cells, are multipotent cells committed to mesodermal lines, and are characterized by the specific properties such as proliferation, differentiation, and immunoregulation. Can be isolated from various tissue sources. The primary source of isolation of these cells was the bone marrow, and also the adipose tissue represents a well-established source for the isolation of the mesenchymal stromal cells. And these two sources are actually sources of, for the alpha-derived cells, but also we have sources that mesenchymal stromal cells have fetal origins, such as the umbilical cord, a specific region in the umbilical cord which is known as cell tissue, the amniotic fluid and placenta. But besides the isolation source, MS is characterized by plastic adaptability and also the fibroblastic morphology, as you can observe in this figure here that is captured from our laboratory. So in order to avoid any misunderstandings between the different research group worldwide that were used these cells and characterized the cells, the International Society for Cellular and Gene Therapy proposed in 2006 the term multipotent mesenchymal stem cells to be used globally for these cells. And in 2012, this term was updated to mesenchymal stromal cells. And of course, the International Society for Cellular and Gene Therapy has proposed specific criteria for the characterization of these cells, such as the plastic pattern, ability, and fibroblastic morphology, as we mentioned previously, the capacity to differentiate it to other cells committed to mesodermal linings, mainly such as osteocytes, adipocytes, and chondrocytes, and the expression of specific CD markers such as the presence of CD73, CD90, CD105, which expression must be above 95%, while some other CDs that are positive for other cellular populations such as the hematopoietic stem cells must be low than 3%, such as CD34 and CD45, and CD8 must be expressed lower than 3% in order to have well-defined mesenchymal small cells. And due to their ability to differentiate to other tissue sources, mesenchymal stem cells stromal cells can be used in regenerative medicine and also in tissue engineering. Therefore, a patient that have a specific defect, these cells can be isolated either from the bone marrow or from the adipose tissue, can be expanded under in vitro culturing conditions and can be differentiated in vitro, and then can be implanted back to the primary defect of the patient in order to restore this damage. And now we can understand how valuable these cells are, because the number of publications regarding the use of these cells in tissue engineering in regenerative medicine has been increased widely from 2004 until today, as you can observe in this diagram here. So, mesenchymal stromal cells are stem cells actually that have the ability to differentiate to other tissue sources, to other tissue cells, which is very common among the stem cells. But these stem cells, these mesenchymal stromal cells, and this ability that is unique among the stem cells, only these stem cells have this ability, have a unique relationship with the immune system. So the mesenchymal stromal cells are responsible for the promotion of immune reactions after specific communication with other cells of the immune system, and after induction through interferon gamma, which can be produced after a pathogen recognition or entrance to the organism, but also MSCs have the ability to immunoregulate overactivated immune responses, and also in this case, also specific communication between the MSCs and the cells of the immune system is performed either through direct or indirect contact, as we will see later. So the immunoregulation of the MSCs can be performed. The immunoregulation exerted by the MSCs to overactivated immune responses can be performed either through direct contact and the utilization of the cell death signaling pathways, such as the use of TNF, TNF-alpha, phosphorylated and PD-L1, which can lead to apoptosis or to necrosis of overactivated cells of the immune system, and also through indirect contact and the production and the release of various signaling molecules such as indoleamin 2.3 dehydrogenase, nitric oxide, galectins, prostaglandin E2, VHLA-G, and of course the production of specific range of inflammatory cytokines, such as those that you can observe here. So MSCs also can avoid the allorecognition, are characterized by low allorecognition by the host cells if they will be used allogenically, because they lack the expression of the HLA class 2 and also the lack of expression of co-stimulatory molecules such as CD40 or B7-1 and B7-2. And due to these properties, the MSCs can be used in a great number of clinical trials that is happening today, and can be used either in a tolerable setting or in allogeneic setting, and most clinical trials are regarding for autoimmune disorders such as multiple sclerosis and ALS, graft versus host disease. Also, the MSCs can be used for contrasplantation of hematopoietic stem cells because can favor the engraftment of the latter cells to the bone marrow of the host, and of course to immune-related disorders such as COVID-19, which this presentation today is focused on. So, and because of COVID-19 pandemic also in our country in Greece, and we had primarily a great number of deaths and critically patients attended in the ICU. And given known that MSCs are characterized by these immunoregulatory properties, we thought to evaluate this immunological potential of MSCs in order to be used for better administration in COVID-19 patients. So, in this evaluation, we utilized two different cell populations. We utilized MSCs derived from fetal origin, from the umbilical cord, from the Wharton jelly. We isolated these cells here, as you can observe, and also from the bone marrow. We expanded the cells under in vitro culturing conditions, and we preserved these cells because we thought about if we want to use the cells must be readily available, so only preserved cells can be thawed rapidly and can be used immediately to the patient. So that's why we used the preserved cells. Then we activated because we know that if the MSCs were in an environment with high inflammatory responses, such as the high concentration of pro-inflammatory cytokines that COVID-19 serum from patients that have been entered in ICU, we utilize the serum. We utilize 30% of this COVID-19 serum in order to produce a culture medium with this inflammatory stimulus, and then we use it in cultures in order to potentially activate mesenchymal cells, and then we use the ELISA methods in order to quantify these anti-inflammatory cytokines that can be produced from the stimulated mesenchymal cells. Of course, we have informed consent for all these actions that we're performing in our lab, both from the patients and from the donors of the cells. And initially, because as we have said, the ICT has specific criteria for the characterization of the MSCs. Primarily, we characterized the MSCs. We performed the in vitro expansion, and you can observe the fibroblastic morphology and also the trilinous differentiation to opocytes, the adipocytes, and chondrocytes. You can observe here that cells have been successfully differentiated due to the use of the specific stains that stain positively on the differentiated cells. And also, we checked about their stimulus potential through the quantification of OX4, OX2, and NANOG. And as you can see, both cells, both MSCs from Wharton jelly, from fetal origin, or from the adult origin, from the bone marrow, expressed the OX4, OX2, and NANOG that actually consistent in autoregulatory lobe responsible for the stainness and plasticity of the cells. Also, we performed the flow cytometric analysis, and we observed that the positive expression above 95% for the CD73, CD90, CD105, where CD45 was not expressed. Also, HLA-DR was not expressed, and the same was happened in both MSCs sources. So we have well-defined, well-characterized MSCs, and then we needed to evaluate further the immunoregulatory potential. So after the stimulation with the COVID-19 serum, we observed that the Wharton jelly MSCs, after 2 hours, started to express all of these anti-inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin-1RA, interleukin-6, 10, 13, and also some other growth factors with immunoregulatory potential such as TGF-beta1, FGF, VGF8, VGF, and IDO were also quantified. And we observed that the MSCs from the fetal origin started to express all these anti-inflammatory molecules within 2 hours after the stimulation with the COVID-19 serum, and it was lasted until 72 hours, where the cells from the bone marrow needed more time to have the same amount of expression. These are diagrams here presenting the facts of the heat map here, and also these diagrams represent a more uniform, actually, correlation of all data and comparison between the pathogen MSCs and the BM MSCs, where you can observe that a more uniform curve is produced by the MSCs from the fetal origin compared to the MSCs that were obtained from the bone marrow origin. Also, we tried to determine the expression of the HLA gene. HLA gene is a strong immunoregulatory molecule and is characterized by 7 isoforms. In our laboratory, we actually detected the expression of HLA-G1, G5, and G7. G5 and G7 are solid forms of the HLA-G, where the HLA-G1 is the membrane-bound form of the HLA-G. And we observed that the bottom MSCs express all these isoforms in comparison to the BMSCs that were expressed only the HLA-G1 isoform. Also, we further confirmed our initial results with the performance of indirect immunofluorescence, and we observed the strong expression of the HLA-G1 in the MSCs of the bottom jelly compared to the HLA-G expression in the bone marrow MSCs, as you can observe in these figures here. And of course, because we are looking for immunoregulatory potential and we are looking for direct or indirect contact, the secretory profile of the MSCs that contain very important molecules such as the extracellular vesicles also was analyzed. So we wanted to analyze the potential of the extracellular vesicles, which are rich in proteins, peptides, cytokines, mRNA, microRNAs, and ADP, and we perform a full proteomic analysis in the extracellular vesicles that were obtained after the simulation of the MSCs. So initially, we determined their size. These are the particles that we have detected with the nanosite, and this is the average size of these particles. And also we used the specific markers in order to characterize the resistance. And then we performed the proteomic analysis where with mass spectrometry, where the different proteins were characterized after a specific classification to all these different groups, and these proteins actually were associated with immunity functions, and maybe these can be used as a potential candidates for the immune regulation. These extracellular vesicles that are produced from the stimulated cells. So we have we try to connect all these different pieces of the puzzles. I will not tell any further details regarding the whole immunological mechanism that MSCs can utilize in order to exert the immunoregulatory function. But this mechanism can be summarized into phase. In the phase 1, we have a critical patient. We can use the MSCs, pooled MSCs in allogenic setting through intravenous infusion. And due to the greater chemokine production, the MSCs can be stimulated, can adopt this stimulus, and can reach the inflamed tissue or the tissue where the pathogen is. And then in the phase 2, where the MSCs have been found in a microenvironment with overactivated immune responses through specific communication to all cells through direct or indirect contact, as we previously mentioned. This can cause the immunomodulation of these overactivated immune responses, and actually can help the patients to combat better the COVID-19 and not to avoid entering in the ICU or more life-threatening events. So, of course, this mechanism has been already published, and in the near future, we are thinking to perform more analysis, such as the association of the immunoregulatory properties of the MSCs with their genetic background, such as and we needed to perform the HLA typing, the RNA sequencing, and all of these can be actually associated with the cyclotome analysis of the MSCs. And this actually, the future plan is to develop large pools of well-defined MSCs that have properly characterized and for the HLA typing, and can be stored for long period of times, and where they are required can be rapidly thawed and used to patients for infusion. So the conclusion of this work is summarized to this here. Both MSCs from Gordon-Jelly or from BM presented similar properties regarding the proliferation, differentiation, and synthesis capacity. The MSCs from the fetal origin characterized by high expression and production of inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin-1 array 6, interleukin-10, and interleukin-13. The other inflammatory molecules such as the growth factors in the IDO were expressed in equal levels between the MSCs and the Gordon-Jelly MSCs. But we think if we want to use these stem cells for potential administration in COVID-19, we are thinking better to use the MSCs from the Gordon-Jelly MSCs because are better candidates for stem cell therapies given all that are characterized by less mutation and genetic alterations and better genome stability than the other cells, and also lack of allorecognition from the host. And besides the COVID-19, because COVID-19 have many common with other disorders such as the autoimmune disorders, these cells can be used as advanced lore therapies to other immune disorders. So thank you very much for your attention. This is all my collaborators, and also running a special issue in the Journal of the National Journal of Molecular Sciences, and we are more than welcome if anybody wants to submit his research, his or her research. The name of the special issue is Advanced Therapy, Medicinal Products as Contested Therapeutics against COVID-19, and we're more than welcome to receive your submissions. Thank you again very much for this nomination. Thank you.